Welcome to another episode of Design with Pam. Today we're going to be designing this simple page. Okay, so it's for like a vintage car company. I took the route of something classy. So I didn't go with the regular pattern that we have image by the side. You have some messages by the other side. So I wanted it to have more like that feel as if there are grid lines on it, but they're not grid lines, right? But everything is well aligned, and I wanted you to have images. And for this kind of companies, you might have a lot of reading up to do on the model of the car, history of the car, and all of that, but I don't want it to be boring. So I kind of section some of the information that you get about the car in a way that is easy for you to read, easy for you to assimilate. And that's why you see this specification section here presented in this format, easy for people to just grab. Oh, what's the model? You can see that is Asian Drive, yeah, 180. So let's get right into the design. Let's go ahead and get our frame here. Click on frame and then come to this drop down and click the drop down and select desktop. So let's change the title of our desktop to vintage cars. So let's start with this section here. I have a video. I'm going to place the link on the description section below, where you can have a tutorial of how I created this type of menu option. I'm going to leave the video link for you, but I'm going to go ahead and change the fill color. Click on this color section here, take our two picker and pick the color. So here we're not using all black, okay? We're using the 010101. Right, so let's go ahead and type trail of the road. I'm going to click on T on my keyboard and I'm going to start typing. So I made use of if this font called Sin. Look at the font here. So I've been trying to explore other fonts, see how they work, and they've been turning out great. But there's something I'll advise you: before you go for any font, make sure you read about the font. Each font always have an about, where best you can use it, whether you can use it on a fashion website design, whether you can use it for children website design. There's a history about every font, and always try to check it out before you use it. So today I'm trying out, Sin. I'm thinking bold. So I'm going to change the font size to be a 48. Trail of the open road. The font is 48. But another thing I'm going to do is, for this letter spacing, I'm leaving it at a -3. Spacing I want to give between this one and our menu section here is, so I'm going to click on it, hold on to shift and select the menu items, and I'm going to give it a spacing of 24. Now let's give it a 48. 48 is great. All right, so the spacing I gave between the menu and the items on the top is 16, but remember, we always put on our grid line, okay? So let me show you the grid lines that I use for this one. I'm just going to add it to my style. I'm going to click on this section here and I'm going to click on the plus sign and I'm going to give it a title. Let's just call it vintage car so we can easily identify it. Right, so I just showed you how to add a layout grid to your file or your style system so you can easily access it. So let's click on this desktop we're working on and I'll go to layout grid. I'll click on this menu here and I'm going to find my grid that I saved, my layout grid style that I saved. So I'm going to click on vintage cars. See, so the spacing at the top and at the bottom I'm using 60. That's why you can see that I aligned it here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to create this line that we have here. So this line is more like to create an to direct users, just to show them that, oh, everything is concise on this board. You can actually just read it immediately. So I clicked on L on my keyboard and I'm going to hold on to shift just to create a perfect line. Let's make it end to end. Let's just give it this. All right, so the spacing that I want between this line and this title here should be 24. 24 is great, but I'm going to go ahead and change my line color. I'm going to give my line color this colors. You can just copy the color code so you can see it. All right, so let's create this this image section we have here. Just click on R on your keyboard and drag a rectangle here. So for this one, we're going to give it a width of 616, and I'm going to give it a height of 384. All right, so remember, you can choose. It's not like this is a definite size. It's just the size that I tried out and it actually worked on my design, and that's why I'm using it. All right, so if you notice again, I didn't round the corners of these images here. I just wanted to have that sharp edge, maybe to really portray so much somewhat form of, hey, I'm vintage, I'm classic, and all of that. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and duplicate this section here. I'm going to add it here to this section. Let me drag it up a bit so that it can snap right back into the spacing I gave to the bottom. All right, so let's click on T on our keyboard and type, what do we have here? Velocity drive. All right, these are just dummy text that I created. Okay, you can change it, send it to me on my Instagram at Pamela the Designer. When you're done with your designs, I can help you review and provide feedback. So I'm changing the size of this to a 20, and I'm going to leave it at, let's give it an extra bold. So for this letter spacing, let's space it out. Let's give it as much as a 9. That is why you saw that it has a different feel. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy the text I have here, and I'm going to click on T on my keyboard. I'm going to draw a little text box, and I'm going to paste this. Then I'm going to come here and select this auto height, just so it aligns well. Then I'm going to select this and select the title itself, create an auto layout, and I'm going to leave the spacing between the two to be 24. The spacing between these two, this one and this one, I'm going to give it a 48. So which one do I want to come down now? Okay, let's leave it like this for the meantime. So let's find images that we're good with. So I'm going to right click and go to plugins. Let's go to let's try pixels, vintage cars. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to select any image I see here. So because I want this image to go right into the shape here, I'm going to make sure that the shape is selected while it is loading. Then I'm going to select the other shape and give it another, and click on another image here. So I think we're making a lot of progress. So let's close our layout grid so you can see what we've done so far. So this is our work. It's starting to have a lot of fine layouts, right? But I'm going to go ahead and push this up to the top here. All right, so I've aligned this to this section here. Another thing I want to do is to reduce this line height, because I want you to see that everything is concise and that you can easily just go through it. Okay, so I'm going to select this one and select this other one and create an auto layer by hitting Shift A. So let's leave it like this. So the next section here is to create the specifications that we have here. So because I want this text section that I used here, I'm just going to double click in it, hold on to my option key and drag out. So what do we call a specification? So let's make the spacing between the both of them to be a 48. Right, we're good. So the next thing, we're going to create all the sections here. Click on T on your keyboard and type model. So one section here is the title, is maybe the title of what we're describing, model, year, engine type, and these are the answers. So I'm going to try to prioritize one, which is the answer. I'm prioritizing the answers here. So that's why I've given the title a different color and I've given the answers a more prominent color. So for this model here, I don't want it to have this scene font because I don't think scene font is very great for important information that I want users to actually read. So I'm going to go with, let's give it a Matri. Matri is great. I'm also going to change this font here because it's a Sophia Sans. I'm going to change this to Matri. I like the feel of Matri. You can see the difference between what we had before. Let me change it. Let me bring it back to what we have now. Great. So for this model, let's give it is, let's leave it at, yes, let's just change the color. Let's use our color picker and choose the color that we used here. I'm going to move it up. Then I'm going to, let's not duplicate here. Okay, let's duplicate and create the answers. What do we write here? Asian Drive. That's a dummy taste. What's Asian Drive? So let me change the color of this to a white. So I'm going to select the both of them and click Shift A to create an auto layout. Right, let's increase this space between. I want it to come to this grid line here, so I'm going to drag this space a little bit. Okay, so remember we used a line here, line as a separator to further give you some clarity on what you're reading. So I'm going to click on L on my keyboard and then I'm going to drag a line and make sure they snap into the grid lines that we have here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and change the line color here. I'm going to take my color picker and pick this line color that we have used before. I like maintaining some form of consistency. Then I'm going to select this one. While holding on to my shift button, I'm going to select the other one and create an auto layout. All right, so I've shown you how to do this section here. You can go ahead and complete it. Send it to my Instagram account, my DM on my Instagram or TikTok. All right, if you also found this video helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That will actually encourage me so much. This is me. Follow me on Instagram at Pamela the Designer. Send me your Figma file of your design, then I can give you feedback or make corrections. All right, thank you very much, and thank you for tuning in to today's Design with Pam series. See you next class.